LTW's dress really reminds me of the Westminster Kennel Club agility course. 2 hoops to be jumped through.
And I'd love to see it. I'd simply love to see it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to And Just Like Yap. I am Andi.
And I'm Caroline.
And we are back with episode 7 of the 3rd season called They Wanna Have Fun. Right off the bat, this episode made me feel like I was on drugs. There was so much going on and so many things I couldn't believe. Before we get into the episode, I do want to address the invisible coffin in the room, which is LTW's father. Every media outlet has already covered this, so we don't need to get into it. But obviously, LTW's father was proclaimed dead in season 1, then was revived, and they killed him off again. And, you know, when it was mentioned that LTW's father died in last week's episode, I had a tiny moment where my brain went, that didn't seem like accurate information. And then I was like, I don't want to go back and rewatch
I know.
other seasons. So,
but we appreciate all of you in the comments who alerted us to this information, our very alert, astute watchers. Thank you, dramaturgs amongst you, because we salute you and we need you.
First and foremost, Carrie goes downstairs to see Duncan and let him know that she read his first chapter of his Margaret Thatcher biography, and she found it thrilling, which I don't know that much about the Iron Lady, but to say that an introductory chapter to Margaret Thatcher's biography is thrilling, she must be a really excellent writer.
Or you really want to bone him. You secretly want to bone him because that's the only way that you're saying that this is incredible.
Yes, absolutely. So Carrie is thrilled by his writing, and of course then she's very, very nervous to hand over her writing, which is her first work of fiction. But she hands it over to Duncan nonetheless. Once again, we have printed, binder clipped instead of sending a PDF.
Of course. And also to say this is good banter right here. Excellent banter. I'm feeling the vibes in between them. Also, Duncan seems to have that pipe permanently attached to his mouth. I've never seen someone use a pipe like this since a production of A Christmas Carol, like, and the Scrooge character is walking around. Like, it's so bizarre.
After Carrie says she's terrified for Duncan to read her first draft, we cut straight to Lily screaming at her phone because Diego has broken up with her. I truly wish I cared more about this. Lily's clearly in a lot of pain, but we only met Diego one time.
It looks like the shot of Florence Pugh in Midsommar when she's screaming. You know the one I'm talking about?
This is very Florence Pugh in Midsummer. That is 100% correct. And then we are back at Hot Fellas, which I guess is the new coffee shop, diner. Like, this is the spot. And Anthony is very concerned about the fact that Giuseppe's mother is coming into town, and she's coming in from Rome. She happens to be a psychiatrist, so...
I also just want to say that, and just like that, the fact that it went over one of the Hot Fellas in their bulge was so unhinged. The way it cut over, it followed them. I was like, y'all aren't even, like, trying to pretend that this isn't what it is.
No, I feel like this show is like, oh, the viewers are mad because there's so many continuity errors. Maybe we can distract them with, like, a giant dick. You've tried it already too many times. There's only so many bulges I can see that will distract me from the deep inconsistencies in this show.
I mean, you see one dick, you seen them all. Yeah, it's, you know, it's...
So Anthony's very concerned about Giuseppe's mom coming into town. Miranda gets curious because Charlotte mentions that Lily's freaking out about Diego and she has a lot on her plate. And Miranda is like, what do you mean? What else is on your plate? Obviously, that does not get revealed. There's a quick distraction where Carrie's like, let me show you this new ring I bought.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Patty Lupone is walking in the door. So she is here playing Giuseppe's mother, who is in from Rome. But as she mentions, though, she was born in Buffalo.
Gotta shuffle off to Buffalo.
Shuffle off to Buffalo. We move forward. We're still at Hot Fellas, and Gia is like, oh my God, this hunky guy who's walking towards me surely must be the Anthony that I have heard so much about. But no. Here's Anthony behind the plant that he was just grumbling behind about having to prepare for Giuseppe's mother, so he's already making a terrible first impression right off the bat. Gia is very disappointed and tells him to put down the plant because it must be heavy for a man of your size. So she's already being very underhanded, clearly incredibly disappointed that this is the man that her son is in a relationship with, so we know that this is going to be a sticking point of the episode.
You know, it stresses me out. She's very much a, he's definitely a boy mom. You know, the, vibe of, the boys, yes. that their mothers are too involved in their lives. And that is, the most stressful place as a person, as a partner to be in.
We move on to a classic walk and talk after lunch. Before we get into this, I do need to comment on, I don't know what the fuck this dress is on Carrie. She has to hold it up. She can't walk without holding it up because it's clearly too long. I don't know. This is a Carrie fashion choice that I have a lot of questions about.
Fair. But you know what? Neck up, she looks so good. I just, her hair and makeup this season, they've really nailed. She looks, so fresh in every scene. Her hair looks amazing. It's feeling like season 6 hair, which I think is, my favorite era of Carrie hair. As someone who's dyed my hair red, the amount of yellow they're putting Miranda in feels very wild because yellow with red hair can very quickly toe the line of Ronald McDonald, and I think they're doing a good job, but it makes me nervous that we're edging into Ronald McDonald territory.
I get that. Yeah, they had her in that yellow jumpsuit before, and we have made Miranda in this episode the curious question-asking exposition person, because then, of course, Miranda picks up on that and is like, what's going on? What's wrong? She won't stop questioning Carrie, and then she hits on maybe Harry is sick. And Carrie, in an absolutely insane but very Carrie move, instead of just saying, yes, but here are the details and please keep this quiet, she immediately says that Richard Burton has dog cancer. And then goes on to elaborate that he has an incurable tumor. She has a full story locked and loaded for Miranda, which is obviously very upsetting to Miranda because everyone knows how special Richard Burton is to Charlotte.
Oh, this is the most Carrie thing. But more importantly, I think it's sort of leading little notes of there's some weird distance between Miranda and Carrie that we will see come to a head later in the episode that we've been seeing this entire season, and I don't really quite know where it's come from, but I'm curious to kind of see where that builds to.
Yeah, she and Miranda seem to be growing apart a little bit, which we'll get into later. But now we have the big lie out here that Richard Burton has doggy cancer, which we know that it's Chekhov's doggy cancer. It's gonna come up again. Moving forward, this delightful scene at Lattes and Lashes.
It feels like a divorcee mom. She's fresh and being single. She's like, you know what? People love coffee and getting their lashes done. Of course, that's a business model that people would go to.
We get a quick scene of the relationship bliss that Joy and Miranda are experiencing, getting cozy on the couch, and Miranda, of course, lets Joy know the bad news that Richard Burton is ill, and Joy, being an owner of 2 dogs, says that, if something happened to her dog, she simply couldn't go on. So she's very, very empathetic. Once again, we are further inflating the doggy cancer balloon. So it's definitely going to pop later. And we're back at Hot Fellas, where Anthony is on his bread phone. Because, of course, he has a cheeky bread phone.
I know.
And he's on the phone with Carrie and is mentioning that Gia, Giuseppe's mother, has been very mean to him. And I do like this. Duck, duck, goose. Nice to you, nice to Char, nasty to me. And Carrie then, of course, reveals that she's having lunch with Gia that day because she got invited. There's really nothing like the experience of you telling a friend, hey, this person was a huge bitch to me. And then the friend's like, Oh, but they're really nice to me.
This felt like so Carrie of like, she didn't even think, oh, should I try to invite Anthony to this lunch with his future mother-in-law? Oh no, I'm just gonna go to lunch with her because she seems to love me. It's so infuriating Carrie behavior.
It is. It really, really is. And even when he asks her, like, please put in a good word, she at first is like, no.
I know. Girl, you wouldn't know him without
selfish.
Anthony. I know. Makes me insane.
Patty goes on to say that when she first got together with her late husband, well, I don't know, is he dead?
If he was still alive, I would assume like there's some like Walt Disney cryogenics happening.
He's like been on the news for being over 100. You know those segments they do where they're like, this is Rita. Rita's 108. How's it feel, Rita? And Rita's like, let me die.
And she's like, what's the secret? Oh, I had one slab of bacon every day for the last 60 years.
I know. The secret is always like endless wine coolers and cigarettes. Gia mentions that her husband's children, who are already in their teens, loathed her immediately, which obviously this is something that Carrie can understand. And Carrie asks her whether she has any perspective to share, and Gia tells her, like, just be yourself because at least then they're meeting the real you. It's good advice. It's good advice for anybody. It's not like groundbreaking advice from a psychiatrist.
Very heavy-handed plot device of like, oh, this is why Carrie's having solo lunch with Gia is because she had the same issues as she's having with Aiden and Wyatt.
Carrie then puts in a good word for Anthony, and we get, I'd rather not say how I feel about Anthony from Gia. Moving on, we get this wild scene at Bergdorf's. Charlotte spots Harry at Bergdorf's, and at first you're thinking like, oh my God, has the unthinkable happened that Harry is cheating on Charlotte? And then it is revealed that Harry uses a personal shopper to buy gifts for Charlotte, much like Richard Wright's personal shopper for Samantha in the original series. We are introduced to Bonnie, who is Harry's personal shopper and has helped him pick out a number of gifts for Charlotte. And Bonnie appears to be out of her goddamn mind.
Bonnie knows what commission she's getting. She knows the pockets to like go into, the brands to get. She knows how to get her check. And for that, I respect you, Bonnie. But this was wild.
It turns out that Bonnie mentions that Harry is so brave, which cues Charlotte to then question Harry, like, why would you tell Bonnie that you are dealing with prostate cancer and I can't tell my friends? So Charlotte obviously takes issue with this, but you know, Harry just says, like, she's not a part of our life. You know, I can just, like, dump it on her. She picks you out a purse and then it's all good. So that's clearly an issue. Harry also mentions that the reason that he needs Bonnie is because otherwise he will buy Charlotte again the Van Cleef and Arpels Lucky Animals dog clip. So I had to look this up because they play it off like a joke that we're all supposed to be like, oh, God forbid the Lucky Animals dog clip. However, this is a very haunted object, so I do understand. I covered up the price so that you can guess. Okay. How much do you think this awful dog clip is going for?
Okay, so Van Cleef, they're the ones that have like the little clovers typically like on their bracelets, that brand. 18 karat, mother of pearl, and onyx. My guess...
That's amazing that you knew that. I had never heard of them before.
Okay, so my guess is based off of the like ingredients of it, I think $5,500 to $6,000.
That's a pretty good Price is Right guess because you did not go over, but it is, I'm so sorry to tell the world, $7,400.
Okay, so not far off. Not far off. Yeah.
No, you were scarily close, but it was even like, why are the dog's eyes so human, but everything else looks so inhuman? I don't appreciate this piece of jewelry. This is a haunted object, and I do not like it.
You know what the texture looks like? You know when you read a kid's book that has, like, the things that can feel like different textures for a kid? It looks like...
a sensory-friendly child's book.
So it looks like it's a sensory object that costs, at least one stock.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. Now we are back at Carrie's apartment, and I had to highlight this outfit on Seema because I fucking love this outfit, and she looks amazing.
Yeah.
This little, like, vest pantsuit number in this, like, beautiful orangey tan color. Like, ugh. Carrie is inviting her to the birthday party that she's throwing for Charlotte. And who else is here in Carrie's home who has been stopping by for the last, I don't know, seems like 6 months? Is Adam. Gardener Adam Gardens. And he is wearing a headband, which is a choice. And he and Seema have a moment. He notices that her eye is weird and kind of irritated, and also notices that she's got a stray eyelash. And he asks Seema to make a wish as he plucks it off her eye, and she says, "I wish Carrie's yard was finished." He blows it off his finger. The whole thing is very intimate, very vibey, and Carrie is looking on like, what the fuck?
Yeah. in that minuscule kitchen. So you have to imagine Carrie is like 6 inches behind all of this happening, just out of frame.
Something about Carrie's apartments makes all of her friends horny.
I know. Although I have to say, I kind of got the ick from Adam this episode.
I did a little bit as well, which was disappointing. But anyway, they're heavily flirting, very close to each other's faces. And then Carrie is setting up for the party, and Jim happened to walk into the room while this was going on, and he literally exclaimed, "Oh, chairs!" Because Carrie is finally getting some fucking furniture in this tomb of an apartment.
Well, also, here's what I'm going to say. What I hate to break the news to Jim. I think this is rental furniture. I think this is all rental chairs that will be going back to, like, a caterer.
They weren't even, like, permanent chairs. But yeah, Carrie's running around in her, like, loungewear onesie, which is a choice. And then Miranda comes in with Brady in tow with a karaoke machine and balloons, and she is dressed like a disco ball. This flavor of Miranda that we're getting a lot of this season and Just Like That is, like, difficult for me because it feels a little disingenuous. Like, I like a happy, satisfied Miranda, but the level of, like, I don't know, psychotic happiness is...
You know the episode in Sex and the City when the guy she's working out with at the gym tells her she's hot, and then suddenly she recognizes she's hot and he gets the ick, and she starts talking about herself so much?
Yes.
That's the vibe of Miranda we're getting.
Yes, and, like, far be it from me to, like, accuse a woman of being too confident and happy. Like, I don't want to be one of those women that hates Anne Hathaway saying it came true at the Oscars, but there's just something about it that feels very kind of, like, forced. Carrie heads back downstairs to invite Duncan to the party because she is aware that it's going to be very loud right above his head. And this was the most shocking part of the episode to me because I assumed that there was going to be a conflict with Duncan not liking her writing because it just seemed obvious that would happen. The only examples we're getting of Carrie's writing are these, like, long, painstaking chunks of exposition with absolutely nothing going on. And then Duncan is, like, raving about this chapter. He's so impressed with her, and he especially is impressed with the first line, which is, "The woman wondered what she'd gotten herself into," which I'm not saying it's a bad line of literature. Like, I don't know, the first sentence in Moby Dick is "Call me Ishmael." Like, I don't know what a good first line of literature is, but that one seems pretty vague to be, I don't know, excellent writing?
I know. I think what did the woman get herself into at least 12 times a day? There is nothing genuine or exciting about that. Like, again, The subtext to all of this is that they want to bone each other, and that is the only reason why they're complimenting each other's writing, because there's no way this was good. Also, it looked like Carrie wrote 40 pages for one chapter, which is way too long.
It is, unless she like sized up the font because she can't see. I don't know. Or you do that thing in college where you make all the periods a slightly larger font to extend the paper length.
It just feels like lazy AP English intro sentence.
And then he says that the way that it flows is so propulsive, which again, we have only ever gotten like really drawn out expository statements. So I don't know where this is coming from. This is like classic TV though, where they're like, we want to indicate to you that this person is good at their craft, but then you either never see their craft or you see it and you're like, don't tell me it's good. I know it's not good.
Mm-mm. It's bad.
I don't know. It seems like either he's really excited that she liked his writing and she stroked his ego and so he's in a better place to read hers. Or as you said, they just want to fuck and that's what's happening.
That's fine. And that's fine.
And then we get back upstairs and Miranda, as she's sort of helping straighten up for the caterers, sees Carrie's draft that Duncan has just given back to her. We're not sure where that's leading, but Miranda takes a glance. And we know it's going to come up later. Now we are back at Charlotte and Harry's apartment, and Lily does not want to go to her mother's birthday party, and Rock in the most incredible denim outfit I have possibly ever seen in my life. We got 2 shades of chambray with a tie down the middle. Like, Rock is like, Lily, get your ass out of bed. Like, there's something wrong with our mother. She was crying in the pantry.
I had to say, this is the most I've liked Rock. This character, like, they've really sort of figured out Rock this season. And Lily sucks, as we have said. Lily is the reason why Big died. Lily is the reason why the wedding didn't happen. Lily sucks. And actually show up for your mother. Charlotte shows up for these kids and everyone in her family 300% of the time. The least you can do is get out of bed and go to your mother's birthday party.
100%. I mean, that's the thing about being a teenager, though, sometimes. Like, I only just now, in my 30s, have apologized to my mother for the amount of times I screamed at her in the dressing room at the mall.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, Rock's trying to yank her out of bed and make her see the light. We end up at the party, and I just love this shot of Charlotte holding Richard Burton. And of course, Miranda is going overboard trying to get, like, a commemorative picture because she believes that the dog is dying. And we have Richard Burton in a little party hat. He looks so handsome. Love Charlotte's dress, by the way, as well.
Me too. It looks like, you know the pink dress that Carrie wears in season 6 when Big comes up to say that he loves her and she's like, if you come down this street anymore, I won't be here. That's the dress it felt like.
You and me, nothing!
Nothing!
Yes, an iconic moment. Joy comes in and immediately, like, almost ignores Harry because she needs to get down low and get to Richard Burton. And Charlotte's like, yeah, Miranda was weirdly very adamant that I bring the dog. And Joy, because she has no idea what's going on, is like, well, you have to spend every moment you possibly have with them. Because we have not clarified at all what is actually happening. Miranda is usually the character in Just Like That who ends up putting her foot in her mouth, and she does that so much that she has now inspired her girlfriend to put her foot in her mouth. And then LTW and her family shows up, and speaking of dogs, LTW's dress really reminds me of, like, the Westminster Kennel Club agility course. 2 hoops to be jumped through. I mean, she looks incredible in this dress. Like, to be clear, like, she looks incredible. But of course, they had to have her throw her arms out to show us. And I was like, I mean, a dog could jump right through one of those arms.
And I'd love to see it. I'd simply love to see it.
I would. And Henry has tagged along because Rock invited them. Love that they're becoming friends. And he immediately spots the karaoke machine and addresses it by name.
I know.
We then get this very funny sequence of both Lisa and Herbert being like, oh, there's karaoke. And you're like, why are they so nervous? And then they're so nervous because Henry takes the stage and sings I Dreamed a Dream, which is just a wild choice for a birthday party.
Truly 100%. And that tells me everything I need to know about Henry. Unfortunately, this was probably me as a child. Were you this child?
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely 100%. We had whatever toy it was that had like a microphone and a cassette, and I specifically remember singing Amy Grant.
Oh, baby.
Baby, baby. Yes, exactly. Yes. I also just loved that Lily is in such pain from her breakup that she was really feeling I Dreamed a Dream. Anthony, Giuseppe, and Gia walk in, and Anthony makes a beeline for Charlotte and is like, we brought Maleficent with us. So clearly things have not gotten more positive in the interim since we last saw them. Okay, this was wild, and I had to take the screenshot because it fully aligns with the theory that you brought up last episode that we are just deleting Big from the entire timeline. He says to Carrie, if she asks, if anybody brings it up, I was never married. And then jokingly, it's clearly a joke, Carrie's like, okay, neither was I. And again, it's a joke, but I don't know, it's a weird thing for her to say, along with everything previously that has been evidence that, like, we're just taking Big entirely out of the conversation. How did you feel about this?
Yeah, I felt the same. Also with Stanford. It just feels very weird to erase these two characters who are very woven into the fabric of the show, and we're sort of just brushing them aside. Yeah, because that also had me think, like, with the detail about LTW's dad, it's like, oh, maybe this was them thinking we've forgotten season 1 and 2. It's just, this is a new show.
You killed a man with an exercise bike. I'm not gonna forget that.
I know. We spent years and hours upon hours with this man. I'm not forgetting him. She wore a bird in her hair for this man. Like, that I can't forget.
I thought it was weird, even as a joke.
Yeah,
like,
agreed.
I don't know. Very, very strange. Love this shot.
So good.
While Henry is on his third karaoke song, which is Copacabana. Lisa saying, I'm going to have to send out apology notes, and they both just look so distressed. It just really made me laugh. Like, this is the energy that I want from these two.
Oh, for sure.
And then we get the most keyed up, irritating Miranda that I think I have ever seen in any part of the Sex and the City universe. And she says, I think it's time for a little girls just want to have fun, which I'm sure is at least slightly an Easter egg for the fact that Sarah Jessica Parker famously was in the 1985 movie Girls Just Want to Have Fun. But she can't get a single person to come join her because she cannot read the vibe that nobody else other than Henry is interested in doing karaoke at this party. How do you feel about karaoke personally?
It depends. So you have to be in the right environment. And I do think as, like, people, we're singers. So I feel like I need to be in the right environment of, like, I know that I can sing well, but I also don't want to feel like I'm going up there to, like, show off.
It is a fine line when you're a singer, because a singer, and also, as we mentioned last week, a Leo. Yeah. Because you're like, well, I know we usually turn the mic down when people are singing karaoke, but could you bump my level up?
And can I get this in a key of C?
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Okay,
do you have one?
Let me go to my list.
That's amazing.
Take a Chance on Me, ABBA is probably my number one go-to.
Oh, that's good.
Because, like, I think that's also my thought of, like, as a performer, I try to pick something that's like, oh, the audience will also vibe to it, and, like, it's one that people can sort of sing along to. I'll do Part of Your World if I'm really feeling like I need to pop off.
That's amazing. I always go for Something to Talk About by Bonnie Raitt, and then inevitably every time about 5 seconds in, I remember that I'm really not an alto and I need a slightly higher key for this song. Like, you have to read the vibe, and Miranda was not reading the vibe. They cut over to who are effectively like the Sanderson sisters of the fine art world. And I love this line as well. I have a rule. I don't get gifts for anyone who owns in New York. I think that's a really solid rule. Anyone who can afford to own property in Manhattan does not need a gift from me.
No,
Absolutely not.
You should be giving out gifts. Like, it should be the other way around.
And then we get, this is so iconic, Seema walks in with a fucking Louis Vuitton eye patch. And then, of course, Adam sees her and is making some pirate jokes in a flirty way.
The ick is really taking off there. It just was like, already, I was like, oh no, I think maybe you weren't as attractive as I think we thought you were.
I had the same exact experience, which is funny because the episode wants us to have the exact opposite of experience of like, oh, Seema's like seeing this man in a new light and like maybe she is interested. I, on the other hand, was like, the more we get to know him, the more I'm like, no, thank you. Okay, so Duncan arrives upstairs and says that the show tunes that Henry is singing are carrying right through the floorboard, so he's decided to come upstairs. In general, this man has gone from curmudgeon to just like, his eyes are just lit up every time he sees Carrie, and she is looking gorgeous this evening, so I do not blame him. Then we cut to Gia and Anthony having a conversation, and Gia is like, you sell sex, right? And Anthony's like, no, it's bread. And she's like, it's bread with a bulge.
I've got a theory. Okay. Walk with me. I talked about how it feels like Hot Fellas is ripe for a cut article. Now my thought is Gia undercover and she's wearing a wire and she's writing an article about the sexual harassment happening at Hot Fellas.
I wish. I really wish. I really wish that were true.
Clearly, she's onto something, and she's right.
Yeah, I mean, she's noticing what, like, everybody who's watching this show has noticed, which is, like, in the year of our Lord 2025, you can't really do what you're doing, Anthony. Like, it doesn't read well. Now we are back on the balcony with Duncan and Carrie, and he is once again just basically foaming at the mouth with excitement about Carrie's novel writing, that her character in the book is vibrant and completely alive, and obviously as viewers we're like, the character's Carrie. Carrie's vibrant and completely alive. They're gonna fall in love. There's part of me that like really loved this because I'm like, I love that like he loves her mind and the way that she writes, and the idea that he like started to really like her and fall in love with her because of her writing is so special. But there's also part of me that's like, this seems like a very hard shift. I really kind of thought that he was fucking with her.
Yeah, well, there's also a line that he says, the period motif impossible. I think you're onto something, which I was like, that's crazy because Bridgerton, also the Gilded Age is on this network. Everyone loves period historical romance fiction. It's
a very, very popular genre. So I'm not sure where he's getting that from. I don't know. It immediately felt when he was like raving at the beginning of the episode downstairs that like maybe he was fucking with her. And so I kind of thought that when he pulled her aside on the balcony, he was going to be like, sorry, I was just kind of fucking with you. But no, he really is just a cuck for her beautiful 1846 writing, I guess.
Allegedly.
Poor Harry, because Miranda comes over to him and says the most devastating thing. She's like, obviously it'll be really hard when the inevitable happens, but we'll be there for Charlotte. And in Harry's mind, he's thinking his own mortality because he has no idea. So yeah, we get Evan Handler with this incredible face. And then the moment that I truly cackled aloud on my sofa, Bitsy Von Muffling is back because of course she is, and she invites Giuseppe to come perform this duet with her. We don't know what the duet is, and then she immediately starts in on "Tell Me Something, Boy." The scream I scrumped.
I frankly ascended to the heavens. There is not anything in a million years that would have made me guess Shallow. I would have thought maybe like Islands in the Stream, Summer Nights, but Shallow. My girl Bitsy has her finger on the pulse, and I'm glad that we brought Bitsy back to sing Shallow.
It really was so funny. And I know in previous episodes I've said we're doing too much with Bitsy, but this is just enough Bitsy. Like, perfect amount of Bitsy. Mm-hmm. Duncan and Carrie, this shot, first of all, those pants, That whole outfit looks excellent on Duncan. He is giving some, like, true Hugh Grant, Notting Hill vibes. Carrie is taking sips from his drink and giggling, and she looks fantastic. Also, I noticed this when I was taking screenshots. The pattern on her dress are little cats. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that. I love that so much. Oh my god, Shu!
Yeah.
Shu, where's Shu? Is Shu upstairs?
I'm assuming when the first notes of I Dreamed a Dream came out of Henry's mouth, Shu was like, I gotta get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
It's fun to see her, like, giggling and laughing, and Miranda clocks this from across the room and has kind of a, like, oh, nice moment. And Harry, of course, pulls Charlotte aside and is like, why does Miranda think I'm dying? Did you tell her about my prostate cancer? And we figure out that Carrie, of course, lied to Miranda when she almost figured out what was going on. I love this. Carrie says, I said that Richard Burton had terminal cancer. And Charlotte is like, that's almost worse.
I get it. Richard Burton is her emotional support dog.
Yeah, I know. He's her third child who doesn't give her the problems that teenagers give her.
Correct.
We have a quick cut over to Gia and Anthony, and we finally get a clue as to what's really bothering her, because Gia is watching Bitsy perform with her son, and Bitsy has already, like, made some inappropriate comments about how cute and dreamy Giuseppe is. So she says, don't you think it's tragic when someone older lusts after someone younger? So we've figured out what the issue is, but it's pretty big double standard given the fact that we've also found out that she and her husband had a huge age gap. I guess it's different when it's your own kid. I don't know. She's very judgy.
Yeah, I would also say Giuseppe's not 21 like you were 21.
Yes.
Like, he's older. So
he's in his 30s, I think?
Yeah, I think late 30s is what I'm assuming. So, I think your judgment at that point, I think you know a little bit more what's going on for yourself, I would hope.
Yeah, we've zeroed in on what her issue is, but it's still kind of confusing. And then I just had to get another shot of Bitsy really going for it.
I really need to do karaoke with Bitsy. I need a night out on the town with Bitsy. That's my good time girl. I need to hang out with her. We're showing our boobs out of a limo at some point in Midtown Manhattan. We're having a great time. I need to go out with Bitsy.
I also just love how, like, in despair Giuseppe looks while he's toughing it out through this performance, being such a good sport. And then, of course, we get Harry finding out what was really going on, which is that everybody thought Richard Burton had dog cancer, and he, of course, because he and Charlotte are so in love and so connected, is like, that's almost worse for you. And then finally we get the Harry that we know and we love. He pulls all of Charlotte's best friends into the tiny kitchen and is like, here's what's going on, and it was really wrong of me to make my wife keep this private when clearly she needs your support. And I was so pleased by this, because I have been saying for the last couple episodes, like, this is out of character cruel for Harry to be doing this. So I'm glad that he finally came to his senses and realized, like, you need your support system around you, and Charlotte, in particular, needs her fucking friends.
100%.
Also, again, this dress, as weird as it is, looks slammin' on LTW, I have to say.
I know. Like, only she can pull off, like, the most bold prints, was, as we've seen, like, throughout the series, like, they really know what they're doing with Nicole Ari Parker, and that they can take risks with her.
And then, of course, huddled in the corner by the stairs, Adam and Seema flirting, and just the contrast of, like, how done up Seema is, and then Adam's got his, like, Birkenstocks next to him on the floor. I don't know how old Adam is supposed to be, but...
This is when I had the moment in my notes where this is what I wrote. What is this person Adam has become? Oh, God. Is he just an improviser?
Oh, no. Oh, no, Caroline! For those in our audience who may not be familiar, Caroline and I both come from an improv background in Chicago, where one learns how to do improvisational comedy and also learns a lot of hard lessons about heterosexual men who like to do improvisational comedy, which is that they are not good to date. and they dress much like this.
I was just gonna say, I hate how he's declassing her. It just feels like we're losing, like, all of the bits of, like, Seema that, like, we love, and this version is, like, it's so odd.
Yeah, I mean, Adam has 100% at least taken one class at UCB. I am convinced of that. In some ways, it's sort of like he's loosening her up and bringing out, like, the fun, less serious side, which sort of coincides with her figuring out how to, you know, budget and build a business on her own. So I get where they're going with it, but yeah, his behavior in this episode ended up being less charming and more like, oh no, is she gonna have to, like, pay your rent? Adam says that he no longer has his yogi girlfriend because I ended things with her when I smelled your perfume that first time, which completely throws Seema off her game, and she gets up to get fresh drinks even though they both have completely full drinks. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, that's a pretty startling thing for somebody to say to you. That would throw me off as well. Like, you know, for as scraggly and scrunkly and sort of not her type as this guy is, like, he's still an attractive man.
Oh, for sure.
And then I just had to get a screenshot. Giuseppe, after his performance with Bitsy, then, just as Seema is about to leave, you know, leave without saying goodbye to Adam, we hear the opening karaoke strains of Betty Davis Eyes, and we hear that Adam is serenading her. He dedicates the song to her. And I have to say, I laughed so hard when he sang She's Got Betty Davis Eye, singular.
It was crazy. And then, because I'm chronically online, I screamed because there's been a whole internet kerfuffle because JoJo Siwa was releasing a cover of Betty Davis Eyes the same evening.
The same night.
As this was happening. Also, in general, the note with karaoke this episode, I was trying to figure out, I was like, why also is this off? You should never be doing karaoke in, like, full lighting. Like, it needs to be a little dim. I think that's the issue as well. It's the fact that we have full lights on the entire episode. In karaoke, it's meant to be a little dark because it's such a shameful experience that you're getting up somewhere to sing, and it needs to be a little dark so you can absorb that instead of being able to see the looks of horror in everyone's eyes while you sing.
Yes, the senses need to be dulled. The mic needs to be lowered, the lights need to be lowered, you have to have a drink in your system. There's a lot of shame, as you said, in the karaoke experience, and you have to do what you can to turn the volume down on the shame.
Exactly.
But Adam has no shame, and he gets so into it, and I hate to say this was an ick for me. Even though typically a man going all out performing really does it for me usually. Like, a good example of this is anytime Manny Jacinto dances, I'm like, oh my God. But Adam doing very intense karaoke to Betty Davis Eyes didn't quite do it for me. But it did do it for Seema because they end up heavily making out in the cab, despite the eye patch. Good for them. I'm sure we will see the fallout of that next episode. And then we are debriefing Miranda and Carrie after the party, and this is where Carrie turns into a total monster. Because Miranda very innocently is mentioning, like, hey, I saw you having this, like, fun, flirtatious interaction with this guy across the room, laughing, sipping the drink, and she's very excited for Carrie and very supportive of this. And Carrie snaps at her and is like, I'm in a relationship. How dare you? Like, I know things with you and Joy are so effortless. And then she says, Aiden and I are over 20 years in, and it's complicated right now. Again with the big erasure. Like, you're not 20 years in. Like, you were married to a different man for over a decade. What are you talking about?
It's giving that sort of vibe when, like, a friend knows their relationship is over, but they're not ready to admit it yet. So she's having to, like, overly project onto this that everything is fine. It's all fine when it's not.
Yeah, and the thing is, Miranda even says, like, I wasn't insinuating that you were, like, cheating on Aiden. I was just happy for you that you were having some, like, fun interaction with a man, but Carrie obviously feels really guilty. You can tell that, like, Carrie knows something's going on emotionally with her because she feels very attacked and very guilty. And yeah, Miranda just points out, like, things kind of seem challenging with Aiden. That's all I was saying. They don't really get to resolve it because sweet Brady comes in after taking out the trash, and they sort of wrap this up very quickly. And then Carrie is back in her giant living room with her rental chairs. Shu has come back downstairs because people are no longer singing karaoke. We get a tiny exposition. The woman held on to what she knew to be true. What a propulsive, invigorating sentence.
I know. I was like, do we have like a name for the character? We just know her as the woman. Woman.
No, we just know her as the woman, which I already feel like it's gotten way too repetitive to call her the woman, so I don't know how Duncan read an entire chapter of this nameless person and thought that it was like inspired writing, but whatever. So yeah, that is where the episode wraps up. Overall thoughts, this was like being on drugs. It was like a fever dream. There was a lot to like laugh at in this episode, but I was just incredibly frustrated by Carrie the whole time because
I know.
she's being such a shitty, mean friend to Miranda. I don't know, like, I don't understand this angle we're going for, as if, like, I know it's now been a few years since Big passed, and I'm glad that Carrie's moving on, but
right.
I don't know, like, it feels really weird and wrong to just basically go out of your way to pretend like your ex-husband of 10 years, like, was never alive.
Right, like, because it's not like you got divorced. He died.
No, he died.
You would still be married to him, I think. Part of me also now is thinking, does Carrie just need to make this apartment an event rental space? Because she might as well make some money on this.
I mean, yeah.
Because I was like, it did make for a great party space. Like, don't get furniture. Just keep renting it out.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, now she has a karaoke machine for Miranda, so yeah, I'd have an event there. Like, yeah, put it up online, book some weddings, why not?
You know?
That was episode 7 of the 3rd season of And Just Like That. We'll see where we go from here. I really struggle to figure out how we're going to wrap things up. But we will see you next time with the new episode. And thank you for watching.
Thank you. See you next week.